All right, it is knife time. Coming to you this lovely Monday afternoon. A few weeks back, I was perusing through the old YouTube, way back videos, and there was this gentleman who mentioned this article that was in Soldier of Fortune magazine back in the olden times, and he got my wheels to turning. And I was like, I have a bunch of those old Soldier of Fortune magazines stowed away somewhere. I wonder if I have that one. So I did some Googling and stuff, and I was like, I think I might have that one. And I woke up the next morning, and my knife buddy had emailed me pictures of the said article I was curious about from his book that was written by the man who wrote the article I was talking about. And I was like, holy cow, I gotta do this now. And so it started it in motion. And the man I'm speaking of that wrote the article is Mr. Bill Bagwell of Bowie knife fame and writing fame about knives. He has a book called Bowie Knives and Battle Blades or something like that, and that's pretty much the he had an article that he wrote in Soldier of Fortune magazine, and this is the April 1987 issue of Soldier of Fortune magazine, and right on the cover it's like, Platoon, how real is it? That's around the time Platoon came out. This was $3. Wow, American Mercs in Ghana. So this was this was better, this was before the internet. This was how I spent my life as a youth going into my teen years. Before that even, I'd see stuff like this and have to go get a job at Baskin Robbins scooping ice cream so I could order stuff like this and wait 6 to 8 weeks shipping and handling. I never bought that particular one though. But that's how it was back in the day. Look. You get a Gerber BMF for $119.95. How cool is that? Alright, but I have what we're going to be taking a look at bookmarked. And this is for our project. Battle Blades by Bill Bagwell. And the name of this article is Customize a Bargain Bowie. And that's what I, Uncle Junk, invite you, the viewers of Knife Time with Uncle Junk, to do with me. If you're of age and you have some motor skills and some mechanical ability and don't consider yourself a complete novice when it comes to sharp things and hand tools, I invite you to join me on this quest in customizing your own bargain Bowie knife. And right here on this caption, there's a picture. The caption says, with a few basic tools and a little bit of time and patience, you can easily convert a standard Western Bowie left into a first-rate battle blade. Well, and in this is from 1987, so a common Bowie knife you got in those days was a Western Coleman Bowie model WF49, and it looks like the Cold Steel Wild West Bowie and or the SZCO Bowie. And there's another company that makes a Bowie that I went through a fiasco of getting for this project, but it was labeled wrong on the website. So basically, for our project needs, we are going to stick with, on your end, you guys, to save you money, a good old SZCO Bowie. Now this one's been modified, the handle's been modified a little bit, and it does have a force patina on the blade. This is the carbon version. They have the stainless version. If you want a knife that you don't have to care for as much and look after, like if you're in a highly humid climate, like I would say the East Coast or the southern, any coastal area or highly humid area, you might want to get yourself a stainless blade. But the SZCO that's in carbon steel or the one that's in stainless steel are both, one's like 23 and change right now for the stainless one on the Amazon, the Bezos place. One is like $26 and change right now on Amazon on the Bezos place. Now I paid $40 for one to an unnamed company. I'm not trying to harm their business because maybe they just made a typo on their website. But it's basically, I don't know, it's basically a SZCO, but it is kind of nicer. But I paid like $29 plus $10 shipping for this. It's basically the same thing. But this is what I'm going to be using for our project. This is a stainless steel blade, about a little bit more than an 1/8 inch stock. It has the brass guard and this nice wood handle. All right, now I will leave the links to, yeah, this one came with the engine. Like I said, this looks very SZCO-like. I think I just paid 10 extra bucks or whatever for a SZCO. It doesn't bother, it doesn't hurt my heart. But whatever. We're all going to be basically starting off with the same knife, which will be a SZCO Bowie. If you have a similar, very similar type knife that you want to use, all right, let's go for it. But let's get into the tools we will need for this mission. All right. And we're going to get into why we would do this. So, basically, I'm trying to find it here, you guys. The tools you'll need for this job are a hacksaw, a 10-inch mill bastard file, a small vise, and it says, and a bench grinder will speed things up but are not necessary. Now, I'm not using any of my grinders for this project. I will be using a vise, which I think is an important thing to have for this project, okay? And I'll be using a hacksaw, and I'll be using probably a few files because I'm going to go a little bit beyond what this article goes in to do. And I'll probably be using some different forms of sandpaper as well. But the tools you're going to need, and I'll put a list in the description along with the links for the knives, and I'm going to post a link to a YouTube video of the great Bill Bagwell himself making one of his custom knives. And he just goes through and you get to get the feel of the man who wrote this article. And the reason why we want to take and modify this knife is this. This is cool if you're LARPing. This is cool if you're going to a rendezvous and you want to like make out with some dude behind a teepee that's from out of town and nobody knows him there or whatever. That's cool. But if you want like a real taking care of business Bowie knife, see, I just went to do the thing and what happened? That guard hit me. So that's the first thing we're going to address. And we're going to address the knife work that we do as per the order it goes in the article. And Mr. Bagwell states that we should cut this guard down. And we're going to get into all these steps, and I'm going to set up an appropriate place in my shop over the next couple days. And I'm going to go through and make a video of each step that we take to do this and convert this. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into more of a high-speed tool. Instead of just being like a thing, we're going to make this a highly useful, high-speed thing that you can use in your martial practice as well and train with, if that's something you'd be interested in doing, or just have a badass Bowie knife to carry and get to know in your hand, so you know that if there comes a time where a chupacabra tries to take your goat or anything that you have on your person, that you will be ready to defend yourself with something proper. And you're going to be able to do that with a less than $30 knife and a few hand tools and some time and listening to Uncle Junk drone on. But don't get ahead of the game, because we're going to take each step. But the things we will be doing is trimming up this guard in a specific manner. We will be changing the width of this blade. We're going to be changing the width of it. It's a little too end heavy and clunky to be a lively blade in the hand. So we're going to bring this down a bit, and we're going to get into the exact measurements. I'm going to show you an easy way to measure and mark this. And then we're going to change the location of the point of this knife, because it resides a little too high. If you go from the center point of your handle to the center point of this blade, it's too high. And if you watch Joe X take a SZCO Bowie, the destruction test he does, one of the first things that happens when he goes to stab some hard object is about a ½ inch of the tip goes wonk and bends. And that's because, in my opinion, well, it's maybe not the thickest tip, it's not the thinnest either, but it doesn't follow the line, that center line. So we're going to bring that down closer to that center line. And this doesn't have a sharpened back edge. We're going to give this a sharpened back edge. And then once all the blade, the hilt work and the blade work is done, then you will adjust this handle as you see best fit to your particular hand with files and sandpaper and such. And then we could get into different ways to finish and stuff like that. I'm going to go a little extra and polish this thing out and make it like super duper cool when I'm done, because I'm going to be putting it up with a couple other knives in this style on display. And I probably will use it in martial practice, because, I mean, what? It's a $30 knife, you know? You guys will be getting an even better deal than I did. Yeah. Mr. Bagwell, he was a Bowie knife genius. He and a combatives expert. He trained some serious people. Bang. And we're going to be looking some more through this cool vintage 1987. This came out 2 months before I turned 13, man. That was like, this magazine was one of my guiding lights when I was a youth. I thought that, look, see, you guys? We're going to build these Bowies together. We're going to be the junk force. What do you think about that? We can go to Cambodia together. Anybody want to go to Cambodia, Vietnam? That'd be fun. Go camping in Vietnam. Look, man, just cool stuff that you could only find in the back of Soldier of Fortune magazine when I was a kid. Look at the kukris. See, we're just spending some quality Uncle Junk time today. All those hollow handle survival knives, man. I wonder if anybody ever got stranded because of one of those things. I always remember this, man. You don't need Castro's permission to smoke. Me and my cousin used to plot and scheme how we could get us a box of cigars. Oh, Lordy, the good old days. 6 to 8 weeks shipping and handling. What about a sword umbrella? What about a sword umbrella? Look at that. That ain't a sword. That's an ice pick umbrella. That's brutal. That's like when you really hate the guy that's trying to mug you. You don't even like defend. You're just like, I hate you. Oh, man. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you condone and endorse the Knife Time Bowie project. Look, remember? There it is. The Applegate Fairbairn we did a video on. School for Assassins and Spies. Rex Applegate. He was a savage. Alright, so we're going to take us a budget Bowie and make it into a feisty fighter. What do you guys think? If you're with it, let me know. I'm going to post the links for the knives. I'm going to post a link to a Mr. Bagwell video so you could get a vibe of the dude that wrote the article we're going to be basing this project off of. And I'm going to be putting the list of the hand tools you will need for this project. If anybody has any questions about it, you can ask me in the comments, you can email, whatever. Let's be creative together. All right? It's a happy Monday. Yay. There it is. That's what we're going to be doing, you guys. We're going to make us a high performance combatives Bowie boy. Let me know. If you're not into it, I'm going to do it anyway. You can watch. And it's going to be a few days. I'm going to set up a space to do this, specifically in my shop, to film it. Alright? Watch Top Knot.